Hi, my name is Bob Hill, and I'm the president of the Church of Scientology, Mission of Riverdale, at 308 Broadview Avenue in Toronto. The topic of today's sermon is how to be calm in the face of change. Scientology is a practical religion. It teaches a person how to know. In fact, that's what the word Scientology means, knowing how to know. Confusion and upset can occur when you are missing information or acting against your own knowledge. That's an interesting point. Today's sermon is based on the information from the book A New Slant on Life by L. Ron Hubbard. Personal Integrity, page 19 of the book. A New Slant on Life is a new point of view about living or a way of looking at life. Here's what the book looks like. You got it? Good. Now, personal integrity means having your own ideas and beliefs of what is honest and correct. So having your own ideas and beliefs of what is honest and correct. You having integrity when you understand what is right and wrong and act based on the understanding. Got it? Good. For example, someone who personally believes their group or friends is good and important depends on that group, and they back it up. That's personal integrity. Someone who believes their group or friends is good but turns their back on the group and works against it does not have personal integrity. Make sense? Good. L. Ron Hubbard explains what is true for you is what you have observed yourself. And when you lose that, you've lost everything. Do you know anyone who acted against their personal truth and seemed to lose everything? You ever seen it? In this changing world, what have you observed to be true? Personally, I have observed religion to be essential. I personally have counseled people during the pandemic. I personally helped them get through grief and fear. And I've helped restore calmness by using the information in my religion. What about you? Can you think of something that is true for you that you have seen with your own eyes? What is personal integrity? Personal integrity is knowing what you know. What you know and what you know is what you know, and to have the courage to know and say what you have observed, and that is integrity. And there is no other integrity. Courage is the attitude of facing and dealing with anything recognized as dangerous, difficult, or painful, instead of withdrawing from it. It is being brave. So you got to use a bit of courage. I've known people that needed to just look at something until they weren't afraid of it for a while before taking care of it. Now I can give you an example of that. I've looked at wild animals in the wild and thought, okay, I feel a bit afraid. As I felt afraid, those animals started to approach me in an aggressive manner. As soon as I observed that they were just animals and that they were no different than I was and how I could defend myself against them, they ceased to be a threat. And, to be frank with you, I've been in situations where that occurred and the animals simply didn't do anything to me. Kind of snarled around me at 10 feet away or such. Okay? The pandemic can be a scary thing. How can you get true data, correct number, and correct handlings? There's a lot of information flying around about the pandemic. looking at success in the fight against the coronavirus is key for me. In countries with low numbers, what are they doing? Take Taiwan, for example. They have masks and gloves on. They do social distancing and constant cleaning. That's effective. That's in Taiwan. They have the lowest rate on the planet. So I would need to have the courage to speak up about that and do what I know and let others know also. That's what I observe. Now, the creed of the Church of Scientology goes hand in hand with personal integrity, because once you see what is important, it is then vital to keep rights and freedoms alive. Okay? So I'm now going to read to you the creed of the Church of Scientology. We of the church believe that all men of whatever race, color, or creed were created with equal rights. That all men have inalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performances. That all men have inalienable rights to their own lives. That all men have inalienable rights to their sanity. That all men have inalienable rights to their own defense. That all men have inalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments. That all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others. That all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind. That the souls of men have the rights of men. That the study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields, and that no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights overtly or covertly. And we of the church believe that man is basically good, that he is seeking to survive, that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, to destroy the sanity of another, to destroy or enslave another's soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group. And we of the church believe that the spirit can be saved, and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. So you can see how that falls into personal integrity. There's points where he actually mentions having the courage to observe what you observe, to see what you see, and to be willing to speak up about it. Now, to keep calm in the face of confusion and change, it is important to maintain personal integrity. We can talk about honor, truth, nobility, all these esoteric terms, but I think they would all be covered very well if what we really observed was what we observed. Honor is sticking to actions or principles considered right and moral based on the greatest good. Truth is what fits with reality, what it is, not a lie. Nobility is being noble. That's showing high standards in morals and good behavior. Esoteric terms are words known and used by a small group of people. So, what you see is the most important thing to consider. For example, if someone saw another in trouble, and they decided from what they saw they should try and help, then they are being honorable, truthful, and noble. But it all comes from their ability and willingness to really see. That we took care to observe what we were observing, that we always observe to observe. something to watch for is looking with prejudice, with a predestined thought or a preordained thought where you think, well, I'm looking at that guy or I'm looking at that situation, but I know what's going to happen. Well, that's something you should watch out for. Preformed ideas, etc. You could be told someone or some group is bad and not look at the goodness. Ignore all the goodness and focus only on whatever you were told is bad. Then you're not looking for the purpose of really seeing. Have you ever been told that someone was bad and then you only saw badness and didn't really look at them? You may be or you may not be guilty of that. And not necessarily maintaining a skeptical attitude. Skeptical would be doubting, questioning, and not easily convinced of the truth. A critical attitude would be a way of thinking that constantly is finding wrongness with things or people, or an open mind. An open mind is a mind open to all points of view. So, you don't want to necessarily hold on to all those things. And not necessarily maintaining a skeptical attitude, a critical attitude, or an open mind. Not necessarily maintaining these things at all, but certainly maintaining sufficient personal integrity and sufficient personal belief and confidence in self and courage that we can observe what we observe and say what we have observed. For example, when you are faced with some problem and you want to approach the problem, you don't have to go in with your mind open to everyone's opinion. You have to go in with a fresh mind. It's got to be clear. You don't have to be looking for wrongness or not believing what you see. You just have to look and have enough understanding and trust in yourself and be brave enough to speak up and act. Nothing in Scientology is true for you unless you have observed it. And it is true according to your observation. Okay? Great. I will now read for you the prayer for total freedom. May the author of the universe enable all men to reach an understanding of their spiritual nature. May awareness and understanding of life expand so that all may come to know the author of the universe. And may others also reach this understanding, which brings total freedom. At this time, we think of those whose liberty is threatened, of those who have suffered imprisonment for their beliefs, of those who are enslaved or martyred, and for all those who are brutalized, trapped, or attacked. We pray that human rights will be preserved, so that all people may believe and worship freely, so that freedom will once again be seen in our land. Freedom from war and poverty and want, freedom to be, freedom to do, and freedom to have. Freedom to use and understand man's potential, a potential that is God-given and God-like, and freedom to achieve that understanding and awareness that is total freedom. May God let it be so. Okay? Our world has changed and continues to change. In order to win the fight against the coronavirus, the improving numbers in Ontario and reopening of society means good individual choices are being made. We can have hope for a better future. Look over your personal problems and see if there's an area where you need to observe more. Is there an area where you need to have more courage and say what you see and act on that observation? Start with this basic action and see what improvements you can make. All right? Great. Counting on you for that one. If you have questions or you would like someone to talk to you, you can reach us at 416-792-1889 or on the email that's listed on the website here. You can order your copy of the book Scientology, A New Slant on Life. Booklets and videos with details on how to stay well are also available online. Join us next Sunday for more ways to improve your life. All right? Thank you.